coming soon to this theater.
We're back on the Drive-In Asylum double feature, and now we've managed to process the spectacle that was Hercules, and we're ready to talk about it. I don't know if Sam sure is.
I am. Hey, in case you didn't, just quickly, next week, 2 crazy movies coming up next week. Dawn of the Mummy, which perfectly ties into the 1981 issue of Drive-In Asylum that is about to be unleashed. And the second movie,
Assignment Terror, starring Paul Naschy, Michael Rennie, and I probably mispronounced his last name. I think Rennie is how you say it.
Yeah, I can't wait. So 2 other crazy movies. So Hercules, I was fist bumping during this entire movie and jumping up and down. I love this movie. It's ridiculous, and I want to call out. I hate the fucking the Raspberries Awards.
Yeah,
they're just stupid, right? And like they make fun of movies instead of loving movies. And both Lou Ferrigno and Sybil Danning won Worst Actor awards for this movie. Which, okay, Lou's just getting started acting, right? Sybil Danning's fine in it. Yeah, her outfit's like a fetishized Swiss Miss outfit in this, and we agree. But otherwise, the rest of the outfits in this movie are crazy. That last outfit Cassiopeia has on, it's like jellyfish and shell pasties. Wonderful.
Yeah, she seemed to have went shopping for that in the bath section of her local Kohl's department store.
Yeah, she did. We used to have remember our old house had like the nautical bathroom. Now I
have a nautically themed bathroom too. So yeah, I could picture a lot of her costume on our bathroom walls.
Yeah. So one of the things I wanted to bring up, we didn't really talk through some of the folks that are in this movie, and there's some great people in it. King Minos obviously is William Berger. He's in Sabata, Keoma, Face to Face. He's in a ton of stuff. He's also in Nana, it's a softcore movie that Cannon made that his daughter Katya's in. But he's pretty great in this. And then also didn't mention that King Aegeus, who is the king that Cassiopeia's father, who Hercules was trying out for, that's Brad Harris, and he was actually a Hercules before. He was Hercules in the Fury of Hercules. That's kind of cool that they brought an older Hercules back, kind of for a small role. And then Cassiopeia's Ingrid Anderson, and this is her first movie. She was a model before this, and she is in the Chicago video for Stay of the Night. I Want to Spend It With You.
Mike Justice recognized the one woman who's in Deep Red, the lady with the red high heels.
Yeah, Cersei.
No, not Deep Red, Tenebra.
Tenebra, yeah, Cersei. And then also Dorkon, who's the evil, like the king's advisor who's evil. That's Yuhade Efroni, who is in almost every canon movie. All the way back to when Goldman Globus were making movies. They actually made a movie with Klaus Kinski and Sybil Danning, a spy movie in the 70s. He goes the whole way back to there. So he's in almost every – he's in literally like 35 of Canon's movies. He's kind of like their Cersei was played by Marilla D'Angelo, who was from Caligula and Tenebrae. I feel bad for Cersei. She kind of got a raw deal on this. I like how she says to Hercules, it's your fault that I lost my powers. You made me fall in love with you.
Yeah.
Hercules is like, huh? Hercules
didn't
doesn't do
know-
well with women. Women get one over on him a lot in this movie.
I didn't think she signed on to be what she was, knowing that she was going to be able to die one day.
Yeah.
Wasn't she
And
divine?
I thought so too. And then Hercules is so strong, he tears the continents apart. Okay. But Bill and I talked about during this movie, why don't more people pray to her, pray to these Greek gods still? Because their stories are pretty good and they explain a lot of stuff. Now I know why Ursus Major and Minor are up there, because Hercules threw a bear into space. Which is pretty cool. I mean, if you can do it, right? And then that sword fight.
It's not a good idea. I mean, you got space junk to think about, so you don't want to throw too many things up there.
Yeah, I mean, Hercules killed an entire kingdom just for one girl, too, though. Like, all those people in Atlantis died because he wanted to get his girlfriend there.
Showing that the Greek gods can be just as dispassionate as any other kind of gods, including one that I can think of that supposedly drowned everybody on the planet at one point.
Yeah, I was trying to explain Old and New Testament God to Becca the other day, and she's like, "Why does it change?" I'm like, "It just does."
Ask the people that wrote it.
Yeah. Also, at the end, if you notice at the end that we were kind of bouncing from stock footage to new footage to miniatures to stock footage. That stock footage was licensed from Atlantis: The Lost Continent, a movie that is also full of stock footage. And then I also love that Cozy does what he did in his Godzilla, the Godzilla remake that he did, where
that tinted screen
gets kind of affected. Yeah. And then also when you see the bears going into space, that's B-roll footage from Grizzly. So, I mean, amazing. Yeah, so the other thing I thought was really cool, and this is from Austin's book, the first canon film guide, is the scene where Hercules grows really large there. They actually took that from, it's the same style that George Méliès used in the movie The Man with the Rubber Head. Like he came up with the effect where he would grow big, and that actually came directly from that old film style. So what's really cool about this movie is I love that the effects aren't great by today's standards. We can see strings hanging. We can see when that in the beginning when that jar breaks, we can kind of see the string hang down and swing it off screen and stuff. We can tell that these backgrounds are just pinholes with lights behind them and disco lights whenever we're in Mount Olympus. But you know what? None of that matters to me. I love these movies because that rainbow sword is amazing. There's miniatures. There's there's mats, there's backward and forward, projection. There's a lot going on in this to make the effects. It's almost like magic tricks for a lot of the movie to figure out how to do this kind of stuff. And I'd rather watch that. Even my favorite part is, and got Bill excited for, is when Perseus is the what do you call it? The sled thing that they go and they throw the rock and it goes into the chariot that goes into space and they go flying on it. The first scene you see them on, they're obviously Barbie dolls that are riding on it, and I do not give a shit. It doesn't take me out of the movie at all, and I love it.
It's impossible to be taken out of this movie. I mean, it's just sort of, you really have to sacrifice everything to get into the movie, and once you do, you're in. This really is not a badly made film. It's just a little bit out of its own era. Because it wasn't up to the technological advances of other movies that had bigger budgets. But say this movie had been released in the 70s, maybe before Superman the movie.
Before Star Wars and Superman, yeah.
Yeah. It would have been, it could have been made at the same time as those movies. And it would have been at least, it wouldn't have been that far beneath them. At least the original Star Wars before George Lucas did.
Yeah, that's what I love about it. If this feels like I did see this when I was young, but I always put myself into the mindset of being 10 years old seeing it, especially the trailer you showed before that says, check out your local drive-in and stuff. When I saw this commercial in 1983, I was insane to see this movie because the trailer gets a lot into it. And Steve says it has a lot of heart. It has more heart than, and that's all Cozy's movies do, as bonkers and as weird as they get. You know, I also love the idea that William Berger's character he has captured a phoenix and he realizes that magic exists, but he doesn't want magic to exist. He wants reason and science to exist. And then he still calls on the one goddess to come, goddess, whatever God pronoun it wants to use, they want to use. And she says, I'm going back into chaos now. Goodbye. Which is like, wow, that's crazy, right? Like where do you I live in chaos? So there's a lot of really cool stuff in this. If I saw this when I was 11 years old when this came out, I would have drawn cartoons of this every day in my book in my notebook. I would have gotten in trouble in class every day. This is very much a Sam as a kid movie. And it fits in, while the effects aren't as good as a Ray Harryhausen movie, it totally could play with, one of the Sinbad movies or Jason and the Argonauts and stuff. Like, it feels like this is a great Saturday afternoon at 3:00. It's snowing out. Let's stay inside and watch a movie, or a Sunday afternoon hangover movie. So I love it.
Even the best Harryhausen, you still know it's stop motion.
Yeah.
It still doesn't look real, like it's really happening.
But I love that.
It's imagination.
Like, to me, it's like and this isn't me being an old man, but like the first King Kong always works to me. And I know it's fake. It looks fake. But
sure. He
has so much more emotion on his face. And there's this, and that it took hours and months of people's lives to do the smallest bits of this animation. And to me, like, that means so much. Like, it's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it wasn't that it looked realistic. It was just the imagination of it. So that's what inspires.
If you dug this, I totally recommend the second Hercules, which brings back William Berger's character, and almost everybody comes back, even though Lou Ferrigno didn't know they were coming back. It's very it's really good. The ending's insane. It's good though. And I love this movie, and I loved Penitentiary. So, like, Canon's always all over the place, but they really brought it with this. If you want to learn more, again, Austin was a great guest. There's the first book, which has Hercules Dead Center on the cover.
Oh, and right on.
The new one just came out, and the new one is a brick of a book, and also Texas Chainsaw right there. If you love Tobe Hooper, especially, there's some great Tobe Hooper stories in this one. And he's working on the third one now, which will be all about the end of canon and the unmade movies of canon, which is I'm super excited about. Still working on it now. So, pretty exciting. These books are very heavy. You can get some working out with his books, too.
This issue of Drive-In Asylum is going to be so awesome.
I'm really excited about it.
I can't wait to see it in print. Like, it's just, I don't usually get this excited about the issues, but I've just been working on this one for so long. And there's been a lot of other things going on. But I mean, this wasn't really delayed. It's just, I have a lot of other stuff to work on other than the zine at this point. So, I'm always going to keep doing it. The issues are going to keep coming.
I may have written about a canon movie for this issue.
You may have, and it may have come up a couple times tonight in conversation.
Yeah.
It may be
in my man, it's probably my favorite canon movie that I wrote about.
Well, you can say it.
It's from 1981. Got Franco Nero in it. Enter the Ninja. The movie that literally started the ninja craze in the US and around the world. Everything we know about ninjas honestly comes from this movie. I make the case for this, and it's pretty exciting. And I did a lot of paintings in this issue too. I'm really happy with the Enter the Ninja art I did for it. So I'm super excited for people to see it and talk about it. 1981 is the fucking year. I'll tell you what. Even more than the last year book we did. The 79 one's like, yeah, there's a lot of 79. 81's awesome.
Yeah, 81 we did it sort of out of order because, spoiler alert, eventually we will do a 1980 yearbook. But we skipped over 1980 for now and went directly to 1981 because I think
there's so much good stuff in 81 though. I'm excited to read everybody's stuff. It's really good.
we got a lot of good stuff coming up in it. Dawn of the Mummy, Robert Fries wrote about that one. You wrote about Enter the Ninja.
Yeah.
Lana Revick wrote about Halloween 2. Jennifer Upton wrote about Night Riders. And Sean Midas wrote about Wolfen.
Oh, awesome.
Dustin wrote about Strange Behavior. Lance
Love that.
Vaughn from Kinder Trauma is back, and he wrote about the Boogans.
Oh man,
I know. I was so excited.
what's funny is it feels like every one of these movies that's gotten discussed, almost every one other than Wolfen, we've like shown on the show. So 81's obviously a very important year to us.
Joseph Perry is back and wrote about The Pit and Dead and Buried, which is absolutely, those two are actually just so stunning, and Joseph captures them very well. We have a top 5 1981 films from Uncle Spooky.
Oh, awesome.
And also from Big Bad Daddy Wolf. He gave us a top 10. So lots of good stuff to look at. I know there's a couple things that I forgot about. A.C. Nicholas wrote about Galaxina.
Oh, man.
That Bill Sachs classic from 1981. Yeah, I mean, a Final Exam is another one. Don Guarisco wrote about, I think he wrote, I'm getting mixed up. I shouldn't have gotten myself in deep like this because I have to pull up everybody's articles.
Man.
That's Sean's review of Wolfen. Oh, Graduation Day. That's another one that somebody geeked out about. Do you like Graduation Day?
Yeah, I do actually. I like it. I like all slashers though. I'm an easy mark for slashers.
Andy Turner wrote about Graduation Day.
Oh, awesome. I'm just excited to see how this issue came out. Like, I have a tendency to want to tear through an issue when it comes out and read it all at once, but like I have to really like keep myself like, you know what I mean? Like I want it to last. And there's not many magazines or anything I feel like that with. And that's why I'm really excited about this issue.
I wrote a lot of stuff in this issue.
Oh, great.
There were just a bunch of, I don't like to choose the films before everybody else because I want everybody to write about something that gets them excited. Don Guarisco wrote about Wolfen and Looker, which is interesting that somebody picked
Looker's
Looker.
A good one, yeah.
Yeah.
Did anybody write about the Prowler?
No. I was going to write something about it, but we just recently ran that piece by Steve Pytak. It was in the last.
There may be Prowler content in the issue, though.
There is Prowler content in the issue. Just nobody geeked out about it because Steve already talked about it in the previous issue. But I wrote about a bunch of stuff, like a bunch of movies that nobody else picked, like The Howling.
Oh, awesome.
The Howling. Travis Goheen is back. He wrote about The Hand. I forgot about that. We've only run like 1 or 2 pieces by Travis. He's got like a really old school ziner style about him that's kind of nasty.
I love that.
Yeah, like it's mean. It's a little bit mean. A lot of the stuff in Drive and Asylum is obviously very upbeat and positive, but every once in a while you have to have somebody that gets in there and says some nasty stuff. But I also wrote about some other stuff some other movies that were abandoned, like Galaxy of Terror, Screamers, Don't Go Near the Park, of course, Scanners, which somehow nobody chose. So I don't know. Usually, sometimes I'm not even in the issue. This time I was all over.
Anybody there's all these Fulci movies that came out in 81 too. So
nobody wrote about that.
There will be Fulci content, though. I do know that.
Yes.
Somehow, some way. Yeah, I'm super excited for this issue.
I should have it on sale like Monday or Tuesday.
Awesome. Oh, man.
So, Sam, anything else you want to talk about on the third segment?
Yeah, we'll show you what came in the mail. man, these books are heavy. So I got some cool gifts this week. The Art of Pulp Horror, which is pretty cool. It's like literally like magazine covers and movie covers and stuff, which is really cool. It's got a whole section in here about William Castle and his posters.
Ooh.
It's a really cool book. Also got the Art of B-Movie Posters, which has Eyeball on the cover. So you know I love it.
Oh, yeah. It will grab you.
Yeah, it's got some really nice spreads of movie posters and art. So pretty exciting. Then this last book, I'm super jazzed about. I didn't know anything about it, and my friend Adam bought it for me. It is Untold Horror, which is a whole book about horror movies that were unmade by John Landis, George Romero, Joe Dante, Brian Usna, William Lustig, and it's got really cool. This is the original poster for The Mummy before it was The Mummy. So it goes into like the canceled Universal movies, and it's really cool artwork. Like all the sequels to Maniac that were never made, and then really cool, like just art of how it was going to look and stuff. So it's a really interesting book. Dark Horse just put this out. It's really beautiful. It's really nicely designed. Finally, got some new movies in the mail. Milk Creek was super good to me this week. They sent Black Dahlia, which is new on Blu-ray. Basketball, which yeah. Safe Men, which I've never seen. A triple threat of 90s, 2000s comedies: MacGruber, Balls of Fury, and Your Highness. The Sequest box set, which is the whole series. Ray Schneider said, "I can't get out of the water. I'm going to keep doing this." Finally, probably most exciting for everybody watching the show, Planet of the Vampires. Look at that cover.
That is beautiful.
It is beautiful. It's 2K Master. It's got Kim Newman and Barry Forshaw on one commentary track, and then Tim Lucas on the other. It's got alternate music score, original Italian credits, Joe Dante and Josh Olson's trailer from Hell, and the original film trailer too. So I, believe it or not, did not own this movie, and I've been waiting when I found out that this was coming out. So really excited that this is out. It's from Kino Warburg. They keep putting out amazing stuff. And they're kind of like the label that nobody talks about and totally should. So, and their prices are great. They do a lot of regular sales and stuff. Also this week on the site, starts tomorrow, is Jose Larraz week, which I'm really excited about. And I've tried to watch, I'm pretty close to seeing all of his movies. Let me tell you, his first like 3 or 4 movies, like Symptoms and Whirlpool, are almost always the same movie. They have the same themes where it's a house somewhere in London, some stuff happens, people have sex, and then people start getting killed. It's really wild. But I love it. I love all his stuff. And I'm an unabashed fan of Edge of the Axe, so that'll be obviously in there too. So I really like The House that Vanished too. I really dug it. It's junky.
I have to see that again. I really hate that movie, and I feel like I shouldn't. So
I think you'd like it. It's not as good as Symptoms, and it's not as good as Vampires. But
Vampires is probably my favorite out of all the ones you've mentioned.
Yeah, and then The Coming of Sin's really good too. I really dug that. The other thing too is I'm excited about getting Planet of the Vampires. I think you can see a lot of Planet of the Vampires in Hercules tonight. It's got a lot of paper mache rocks. That green tunnel that they're run out of that light where Hercules is pulling out open, and that green comes out. That's total Baba. So obviously, anybody Italian, that's gonna be a Baba thing. So, but super. I'm just so excited to have a great looking copy of that from not having it in my list of stuff. And then next week after this is, I can't believe it. I feel old. Arnold Schwarzenegger's turning 75. So it's all Arnold movies for a week. And even stuff like The Villain and Scavenger Hunt and Hercules in New York, stuff he did for anyone new. I watched a crazy Lucille Ball special with him in it, and he fights Art Carney in this special, which is pretty wild. He's a very, very young Arnold. This is like maybe the same year as Pumping Iron, which had Lou in it. So super, super excited. Oh, so yeah, the other thing that happens in these Larraz movies, I see, as Mike brought up, a lot of incest happens. And The first 4 movies or 5 movies have almost the same cast, and he shot them in England, even though he's from Spain. They're real wacky. There's definitely not just because they're from the same country, but a lot of the same crew. He used a lot of the Jess Franco a second unit for a couple of these movies. Not second unit, but cameramen and focus pullers and stuff. And yeah, I saw the Scream and Die version. I've tried to get the uncut versions of all these when I watch them. And trying to hunt down some of them. Some of these movies I had to watch on not completely legal ways, like OKRU or you know, to watch a lot of the Jose Larraz movies. But I'm trying to do them. And then August is start of the second month, completely tying into tonight, of canon movies. And I went back to the beginning of the first movies that Austin hinted at that Canon put out when it was pre-Golden Globus. And they released a lot of cool stuff, Bill, back then, in the days before they were, a major studio, when they were the 70s one. Like Fondo and Liss, the Jodorowsky movie, Joe, Blood on Satan's Claw they released, Crucible Horror, Cauldron of Blood, Who Killed Mary, What's Her Name, Young Playmates, Goodbye Uncle Tom, The No Mercy Man. They released The Red Queen Kills 7 Times as Blood Feast. So they actually put a lot of stuff out, and quite a few giallo too. So that's pretty exciting that they released. And when Golden Globus came on board, they re-released Silent Night, Bloody Night is a totally different title too.
It was Death House.
Death House, yeah. And the other part of that month will be, as Austin hinted at, Canon bought a ton. They had the Thorn EMI catalog and the HBO video catalog, so they put out a ton of stuff on video, especially in Europe. That's where a lot of their money came from, because they put out so many movies in Europe that were American movies, but with the Canon logo on them. They even owned their own chain of movie theaters in England for a long time when they bought the Thorn EMI stuff, and they bought. They even owned the big studio over there where they shot Star Wars, Pinewood. They owned that for about 3 years or 4 years. They shot a lot of Superman 4 there. This is one of the many purchases that doomed Canon, because why do they need this giant studio when they're making these? They had also gone from making these $5 million movies that automatically made money to making stuff like Superman 4 that wasn't going to make its money back, or Masters of the Universe. So it's pretty intriguing. So anyways, I was really excited. I'm so glad we had Austin on this week. It was a blast getting to talk to him. We had lunch a couple of weeks ago and hung out, and we had perhaps the geekiest conversation of all time about it. Was like deep dive into canon stuff. So that was a blast. He had just come back from the Maria's Lover's house where he stayed. It's now a bed and breakfast in Brownsville. And he was totally geeking out because he got to he loves that movie, and he had got to sleep and hang out on the sand. And the owners were like, we've never met anyone that's seen this movie because it never really played in the U.S. outside of coming here on video. It's by the same director who did Runaway Train, and amazingly enough, Tango and Cash, which he kind of went from making these art movies to making Tango and Cash. But everybody's got to make money sometime, right?
I'm sure your meeting with Austin was like my dinner with Andre, except all about canon films.
It was like us eating pho and spring rolls and talking about canon and marketing and how movies get made. That's the other thing, Bill, is like beyond the print ads, Canon really excelled at making these fake ads, where before a movie came out, like the cons issues of Variety were like 80 pages of just Canon ads. And a lot of them are for movies that would never come out. Like they would say, coming out in 86, a Dustin Hoffman movie by Canon. Dustin Hoffman had not even talked to Canon yet.
Yeah.
There's this picture in one of their ads. The one that we talked about the most is before Death Wish 3, they needed to have artwork. So they actually sent Bronson up on the roof of a hotel with a gun in New York and took a picture of him. So there's the skyline in New York behind him. You know, the movie, they didn't even know where the movie was gonna set. So yeah, I do like Cockfighter, by the way, Tom. I love Warren Oates, so definitely we'll watch that. Yeah, but Canon bought so many ads, like it was ridiculous. Austin also has the 1986 con book that they made, and at that point, I think they had 1,700 movies that Canon owned, whether ones they had bought in the past or had made, and all of those were available for rental. And it's really crazy. But that's when the wild ones get into it, like you know, Pinocchio in space and these movies that were never going to get made. And that same year, Canon almost made Spider-Man and Superman 4 in the same year, which is crazy. They bought the rights to Spider-Man and Captain America for $250,000, which, back then they weren't worth the rights to the Marvel movies weren't worth anything, And Michael Winter was going to make Captain America, which you've seen Death Wish 2, is an amazing thing that movie would, a kid's movie would be made. But then again, he did make Wonton Ton, the dog that saved Hollywood. Anyways,
Tom Space is watching us on YouTube, and thank you, Tom Space.
Yeah.
I want to encourage everybody who's watching on YouTube, or even if you're on Facebook, go check it out on YouTube anyway, and please subscribe to the Facebook channel or to the YouTube channel, Groovy Doom. I have to build up maybe 400 subscriptions before we're considered legit. So I've got a little ways to go. So any help you can give, much appreciated. I promise you don't have to really like it. You don't have to always watch us. Just go like it on Facebook or on YouTube. Thanks.
I really think 10 to Midnight would be a great movie to show on the show because have you seen it, Bill?
Yeah. It's an HBO movie. Watched it almost every time it was on. There's a naked guy running down the street. So, of course, I loved it.
It's a slasher. And also, Bronson says that line. He's like, you know what this is? You know what people use this for? To get off. Man. Also, that movie is, very anti-authority by the end of it. Is the idea that the police will do anything to take you out. It's pretty novel for the time that it's made.
It inspired John Cougar.
Oh, it did? Authorities. Oh, yeah. Good call. I get the picture. I thought it was about chili dogs.
And Tasty Freeze.
I mean, I could go for both right now.
I hate Jack and Diane.
Do you?
No, the people in the song.
Oh, what are
that
the
song's
two
about Jack and Diane, and from everything in the song, I fucking hate their guts.
You like the song and hate the people, or do you hate the people in the song?
Well, the song's just kind of there. The song is a story that was told to me about two people I find really annoying.
Do you like story songs, though?
Sometimes, yeah. I like Ode to Billy Joe.
Yeah. I did an article, I think last year, story songs that were made into movies, like Harper Valley PTA and Ode to Billy Joe, that were turned into movies.
Yeah. There you go. Harper Valley PTA.
It's another one.
There was a sequel to Harper Valley PTA.
Really?
A song sequel.
Oh yeah, where she kind of became religious and stuff.
Yes.
Yeah, where she was where she kind of I was really shitty mom back then, but now I'm trying to make stuff right.
She became one of the people that she called out for being a hypocrite. She became a hypocrite, and she's like, "Well, maybe being a hypocrite isn't so bad."
I'm gonna say it's bad. There was a series even for Harper Valley PTA.
Mm-hmm.
I guess there's an Alice's Restaurant is a story song made into a movie and a series too.
Was it related to Alice's Restaurant?
Well, the name from it came from, it was the.
Oh, really?
The show was the adapted version. They changed obviously an awful lot. Flo obviously is neither in the song nor the movie, but
Alice doesn't live here anymore is the name of the movie that it was from. But you're saying that was inspired by Alice's Restaurant? I never knew that.
They just took a very tiny bit of it. I'm obsessed by characters like Flo that nobody sees coming that take over a show. I know Fonzie's probably the best, version of it, but isn't that amazing that at one point in the 70s and early 80s that Flo was a big deal?
Yeah, since she got her own show and like Chrissy from Three's Company.
Enos too, yeah.
They should have had their own show together. We thought we were bigger than we were.
I would love that.
Somebody talked us into it.
I had a big crush on Vera from Alice.
Vera was my favorite one too. She was really funny.
Because she was kind of nerdy and but she was probably pretty cool to hang out with. Once you got her away from the rest of the people working there. I thought you would say that Mel was your favorite, though. But
Mel, naturally, that goes without saying.
mm-hmm. I'm excited about this week, though. This felt like a departure week, and I'm glad everybody went with us on this kind of like little detour.
Yeah, it's a little off the beaten path. It's not our
but not all
typical
driving is horror.
Yeah, there's a lot of things.
And Austin was worried after the first segment because I hope people don't think of this movie like Damnation Alley, and I'm like, no one will ever see it like Damnation Alley. You're totally cool. Don't worry.
I think that'll always be the worst thing we ever showed.
It's always going to be like that, like the barometer. If we did our own award show, that would be, the one that wins it.
All right.
That's a good idea for a future show. We have the movie of the year.
Make sure you come back and hang out with us next weekend on the Drive-In Asylum double feature. We'll be watching Dawn of the Mummy and
Assignment Terror.
Terror.
Two kind of like weird takes on classic monsters. They go so well together.
Yeah. You expect everything and expect nothing from these two movies, and you won't be disappointed. Special thanks to our guest, Austin Trunick of the Canon Film Guide, for being our guest this week. We liked hanging out with you. Appreciate it. And to all our viewers, come back next week. Be safe, be well. We'll see you then.
Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardians. Under 17 not admitted without parents or guardian.